Hey YouTube, this is Southern Purple One. It's going to take a lot of things to survive a crash, a collapse, a SHTF event, or without rule of law, whatever you want to call it. It's going to take a lot of planning now, so you're prepared. It's also going to take people. And after the fact, you're going to need to be organized. The military is very organized. When we do anything, we have a mission, we have an op order, we got a total from head to toe plan of what's going to go on, and then we also try to plan if things turn sideways. What are we going to do if this happens? So you're going to have the same way. You might be a big homestead, you might have multiple families coming to your location, you might be in a subdivision, be it large, be it small, it doesn't matter. You're going to have to organize. Organization is the key. You're going to have a command post. You can call it command post, you can call it headquarters, you can call it whatever you want. It doesn't matter. It's going to have to be where people that are in charge can make decisions. They can look at the intel, they can look at what's happening on the ground, and then determine what to do with your resources. So this is a whiteboard. Whiteboards are awesome. You need one. You need to be able to draw your layout of your subdivision, of your retreat, so you can move your pieces around. And that easiest way to do it is with magnets. These are free. A lot of times you can get them. There's advertisements. I save every single one without a shadow of a doubt because they're very useful. What you do is take a sticker. These are just white sticky, and I put them over top of it. Usually you have to put 2 of these because you can see the colors, and I hate the colors showing through. I hate writing showing through, so I put 2. Then you can cut them wherever you want. Now you can put all your assets, and assets are people. Let me show you about the people. You can do it any way you want, but say you got me, Dave. I carry an AR-15. That's so whoever's looking at this board from a military standpoint will know what I have. 1, if you're a capable person, you can run, jump, climb over a fence, you can rate yourself as a 1. Now, if you're a Navy SEAL, you're a 0. You're not going to have many of those in your thing. But I'm an average guy within pretty good shape, and I can run. I can do a lot of things. So I'm a 1. Poor Joe, he's a 3. He's great. He can sit at a position. He can watch your front gate. He can do a lot of things, but he's not going to be maneuverable. He can fall back, but he's not going to be a guy that you're going to have advance or do certain things. This is so you can definitely see what you're working with when you look at your map. Now, some people might get upset. Joe might say, I'm not a 3, I'm a 2. Yeah, you're going to have that problem, that conflict. So you might have to determine, say, okay, what can you run a 100-yard dash in? What can you do a 1-mile walk in? And just say, hey, if you can do it within this, I'll raise you up to 2, Joe. But these are important because I can take these and position them anywhere I want on my map. And this is just a very small map. If you had a big subdivision, draw it as accurate as possible. You could see your resources with people. I also have the weapon system here. Why? Joe normally carries a 12 gauge. That's his weapon of choice. But let's say we take Joe and we put him next to this little pond near a subdivision, and we want Joe to watch north. And Joe has 500 yards of pure open grassland. We need to realize that Joe is not in the right position. If he has a 12 gauge, he might have the ability to take engagement shots of 200-300 yards. Joe has a 12 gauge. So we go back over here to our extra resources and say, okay, we have an extra AR-15, and that says extra. Guess what? Joe needs to pick up that AR-15 when he's in that position. Now I know where that extra rifle is. I know Joe is capable, looking at this map, with his AR-15, he can cover 200-300 yards. He can cover all that for us. So, extra resources, and that could be night vision. I look at the map, and there's a conflict, a problem. Somebody says, hey, somebody's sneaking into the subdivision, or there's shots fired, and it's the middle of the night. I'm looking to see who has the night vision. If you have limited amount of night vision, you might need to move your night vision around to where you think the enemy could come in, or where it's going to be needed, and that can quickly know who has that night vision. Maybe you got a medical bag with oxygen. Where is that right now? Binos. it doesn't have to be all tactical. This is a trailer. So we get in the community, we have one water trailer that has a 275-gallon tote, and that can be used for fire prevention or fire suppression. So now I know where I can tell them to take the tote. Go put the tote right there. Now I know the tote's there. Also, 2-inch pump or a 1-inch pump. I have a pond, and I also have a swimming pool. I can direct those pieces of equipment where they're needed to fight a fire. Also, any resources. Our little community has one 4x4, and it's 4x4. We labeled that because we don't want to just say it's a truck, because I might assume it's a 4x4, but it's not. And I might ask that truck to do things where you have to have 4-wheel drive. So it also has an LR radio, long-range radio. Inside that, it takes gas. This is a Kubota excavator. It's a diesel, so I know what I have and if I need fuel for it. 4-wheeler. These are easy to position and plan your defense by moving it around. Also, the person that's making the decisions might be on a radio, might be busy, or maybe he's off. He's getting some chow and something happens. Whoever's manning this radio station is also looking and making sure this is as updated as possible. So, if Nate was over here with Joe, and for some reason he moved down here, whoever's in charge can immediately come back here and say, oh, Nate's down here. Okay, Nate, swing back up to Joe. This is for command and control. You might say, Dave, we don't need that. We're preppers. You do need that, because you could go against a person that has military training. He could organize a group of people. I just call marauders, bad guys, whatever you want to say. He could be organized to the point of a small unit, of a platoon. And if you don't have your organization on par with his, there's no way you're going to compete with him. You know, if he comes from the north with 20 guys, you need to see what you got. You'll also have extra guys written down here, all your extra personnel, and you can direct those people by positioning them here, then communicating where you want them. Without this board, without these magnets, you could suffer. So, yes, AR-15s and ammo is great. I'm all for it. But having some ability to command and control, look at your resources, and then move your resources around. So, half the problem is getting a whiteboard, getting some markers. Definitely start saving these. You probably, if you have a community or a subdivision with 20 or 30 people, you could probably scrounge up enough of these in 1 second. Even if you don't have anything to put on, use wide masking tape and cover them and then cut them out. But all your resources should be on this board, every single bit. You might have medical personnel. You might have a place where you are going to take your wounded people. This needs to be planned out. You might not say, man, my subdivision's not even thinking this. They might not be thinking it right now, but that's why you got to start thinking it. You got to start planning it, looking at your community. How can I defend this? And that way you'll have a plan to show them and say, hey, I'm working on this. Let me show you what I got. And then you can go from there. And then all of a sudden somebody in your community might say, you know what? I was a lieutenant colonel in the military. I got 20 years in. I can organize this. I can do this part of it. And you're going to have to say, okay, you know what? You got more skills in organizing in the defense of this community. You take over. What can I do to help you? This is what I've come up with. These are my notes. So, magnets. Yeah, they're not as cool and sexy as AR-15s, but a whiteboard, some markers, and some magnets, and a little bit of planning is so much more important than an AR-15. I hope this helps. Thanks for watching.